With the VCT Masters Copenhagen ending this weekend, and the final 4 teams announced, let's take a look and see who they are and how they got to this moment. Your final 4 teams for VCT Masters Copenhagen are NA's Optic, APAC's PaperX, and EMEA's Fnatic and Fnatic. How did these teams beat out all the other competition? Let's find out. Optic's journey to get to VCT Masters Copenhagen has been the easiest of the 4. Since they won Masters Reykjavik, Optic did not have to compete in the NA Open qualifiers and got to go straight into the NA group stage. Once in the group stage, Optic flourished, winning every game except against Evil Geniuses. They were the top team in their group stage and moved on into the playoffs as the first seed position. With Optic in the first seed position in the playoffs, they were able to bypass a game and get one step closer to the NA playoff finals. Optic did just that and won all of their games to make it to the NA playoff finals and secured a spot at VCT Masters Copenhagen. Optic unfortunately lost to XSET and became NA's second seed position for VCT Masters. Since Optic became the second seed, they had to play in the group stages at VCT Masters Copenhagen to make it to VCT Masters playoffs. This is where things got a bit shaky for Optic. They lost their first group stage game against Guild, sending them to the elimination bracket, where if you lose a game, you're out. Optic was able to thrive and defeat multiple teams that were considered tough competition, such as Loud and Crew. With defeating those teams, Optic guaranteed a spot in the VCT Masters playoffs with their first match against XSET. During the playoffs, Optic was able to defeat XSET and DRX to make it to this moment, the upper finals. Optic has a guaranteed 3rd place no matter what, but we'll have to wait and see if they'll do any better than that. PaperX has become a household Valorant name in the past year. Forsaken and Jing have become famous in the Valorant community, and it's no shock as to why. PaperX is one of the most fun teams to watch, with their aggressive strats and chaotic gameplay that leaves opponents confused every time. Let's see how they made it through and got into the VCT Masters Copenhagen upper finals. PaperX started off in the Malaysia-Singapore group stages and won with a clean 7-0 record to advance to the playoffs. Once at the Malaysia-Singapore playoffs, they had a win streak until the upper final where they lost against Alaze, but they were able to win the lower final to advance to the grand final where they took vengeance on Laze, winning 2-1 and advancing to the APAC group stage. Once there, PaperX dominated their group stage, securing a spot in the APAC playoffs, where they won every single match and secured the first seed spot for APAC. They moved on to VCT Masters playoffs, where they faced off against Guild and Fnatic, and have won both, taking them to the upper finals against Optic. Fnatic is one of the most well-known EMEA teams in Valorant, so it's no surprise they've made it this far in the tournament. Fnatic was able to steamroll the EMEA group stages with a 5-0 record and advancing to the EMEA playoffs where they clean sweeped and proceed to take the first seed spot for EMEA in the VCT Masters. Once at VCT Masters Copenhagen, they were able to bypass the group stage and start immediately at the playoffs. They first faced off FPX and won 2-0, but their next match against PaperX did not play favorably for them, as they lost 0-2 and headed to the elimination bracket. Fnatic was able to barely get a win off of Leviathan, with 2 of the 3 maps going into OT. Fnatic secured the win and got to move on into the lower semifinals, where they'll face off against FPX once again to see who will guarantee a 3rd place position. FPX is definitely the wildcard team at this VCT Masters. Let's see how they're able to squeeze their way through to make it to the top 4. FPX, like Fnatic, is an EMEA team, so that means they had to face off in the EMEA group stages, where they had a difficult time securing a spot. Ending on a 3-2 record, they came in 3rd during the group stage, which means they barely progressed to the playoffs. The only reason they did is that the bottom 3 teams in their group all had a 1-4 record, meaning that there's no way for any of them to pass FPX. Once at the EMEA playoffs, FPX was able to maneuver themselves through the tournament to take the 2nd seed spot, winning the lower bracket finals to face off against Fnatic in the grand finals, only to lose to them. Being the 2nd seed spot means that FPX needed to make it through the VCT Masters group stage to make it to the playoffs. They successfully made it through the group stage with a sub, and once they made it to the playoffs, FPX immediately lost on the first round against Fnatic, sending them to the lower bracket. In the lower bracket, FPX got back Sugetsu, who wasn't able to make it to earlier games due to visa issues, and with that, FPX turned the competition around. They have won every lower bracket match they have faced to become one of the final 4 teams. They face off against Fnatic again, where one of them will take 4th place and the other one will move on to the final 3. Those are your final 4 teams of VCT Masters Copenhagen and how they made it. Who are you rooting for to take the crown and the title of VCT Masters Copenhagen? Let us know in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.